Good day, everybody. Again, this is Walter Goodfield with RKLE Solutions. Regardless of where your process starts, whether it starts at the quote, the sales order, the estimate, or MRP for calculating your production demand, it doesn't matter where you start your process. The manufacturing process is what we're going to focus on today, from the time, again, of your routing definitions through the production entry. So Pat, as you take controls here, we're going to walk through an overview for the next 20 minutes or so of JobOps, and then we'll circle back and address any questions. Thank you, Pat.
Great. Good afternoon. Hopefully you can see my screen okay. I'm going to walk you through the basics of JobOps and how it integrates with all of the other manufacturing type modules that would be needed to run through your process. So JobOps, I'll jump right into the JobOps module itself, and you'll see JobOps has a bunch of modules or folders within it, identifying the actions required under each one. You know, time has single or multi-employee time entry. Parts usage can be launched from here. After the fact, time entry. If somebody, if you guys hand write all your information on timesheets, that can all be entered after the fact to collect that all that time and your costs direct to the jobs. The field service piece has a service dispatch board, which allows you to dispatch out if you're doing any field service work on equipment that you may have sold. You also have the ability to do service work on items that you didn't sell, where you could actually sell service agreements on items. We also have a scheduling module with a scheduling control hub, which gives you visibility relative to days, relative to scheduling groups, etc. Capacity planning, job scheduling reports, production alert reports. These are all very, very strong reports that you would use if scheduling is an issue for you. In conjunction with that, if you don't already have it, Sage Alerts and Workflow accesses all of these same tables and fields in Sage100 as it would any other inventory or any other module in the Sage100 suite. So those are important points to look at. We've got inquiries, we've got reports, we've got setup. So one of the things I do want to show you is if you make a lot of the same things, one of the things that you would typically set up is a template. Okay, your work ticket template is your routing. So you could actually set up for this particular item here. You'll see that we have multiple steps. The initial step is always the header. This shows you a work ticket class. It shows you the tabs associated with this particular template. As I walk through it left to right, this is a current revision, so each of these templates are assignable. You'll see there's activity codes. So this is typical for each one of your steps, these 6 tabs. You have a main tab, additional. Under your additional, you can have assignments for scheduling purposes. You can have setup, budget hours, labor costs, material costs, and you'll see that some of these already say calculated. So I'm in the header, so this is for the template for the whole item itself. And parts, attachments, you can have attachments if you have CAD drawings that you want to attach to these particular templates. You have that ability. You have user-defined info, which you can turn on. It's not turned on here. And for each one of your steps, typically you would have instructions, which would be found under the text tab. So for your first, in this particular template, we see we're configuring components. There's an activity code. Again, if you're using work order, this would be similar to your operations codes. With this activity code, you can assign standard costs or employee costs. You'll see that this can tie into your scheduling. etc. for your processes. We have an additional tab, again, for this particular step in putting this template together. This particular step takes 4 hours. You'll see that we have the ability to scale based on how many you're running through. You have the ability to scale both labor and parts. And you have labor and material costs associated with it. Under my parts tab, these are the parts that have been set up in this particular template. So again, the benefit of a template is the next time you're going to make this or something similar to that, we'll pull all this information in directly from the template. That does not mean you can't use a bill of materials. We also have the ability to link a work ticket to a bill of materials if it's already defined. We also have the ability, as I walk through this, to import from bill of materials or from outside programs in CSV files or Excel files. And again, each one of these steps has these same tabs on the top, and you'll see for this particular one, these are the instructions. Now also note the amount of space that you have here to include on instructions. So these instructions can be viewed online, or they can be viewed in a router or a traveler, whatever you want to call it. So that's the basis. That's the basis of this particular the templates, and you'll see here's an overview of the template and the templates that have already been set up. So the other thing that JobOps gives you is it gives you the ability, which nothing else, none of the other modules or none of the other work order modules do, is to define a work ticket class. So if you're job shop making custom items, you have a specific work ticket class, and that work ticket class will define different general ledger accounts if you want them, different departments, different billing mechanisms. We also have a field service class. We have installation delivery. Again, these are all predefined in our system. Preventive maintenance. That's a great one because a lot of people that buy JobOps or the field service module aren't aware that it has built into it the mechanism to do your own. A lot of manufacturing companies have their own equipment, and their equipment needs preventive maintenance. This has the ability to set all of your own internal equipment up on preventive maintenance schedules. And it will automatically generate those work tickets for internal purposes to track your maintenance versus repairs, etc. So the point here is we have a lot of different functionality to define your different types of work that you do. And then I'll jump into activity code quickly just to show some of the definitions. So these are your operation codes. You have the ability to show classifications. It could be machine, it could be outside services. And again, a lot of manufacturing companies have as part of their process flow sending parts out for anodizing or some other type of outside service. So you do have the ability to put in an activity code for that. You'll see we can have a standard cost. We can do burdens. We can set up specific department codes. GL accounts linked to burden and labor, scheduling. This is a good one because it actually takes your activity codes and you have the ability to link those activity codes to a scheduling group. Again, similar to work order, this would group specific activity codes into a group. And then a lot of times customers have the need to include overhead in their costing. So we have the ability to do overhead on a percent or on an amount basis. The other thing is in the scheduling group, you'll see that we have the ability to do finite scheduling. Okay, with finite scheduling, we have number of hours. We can put start times on here, and then we have the ability to run infinitely, whereby it won't even look. The schedule won't look at what your capacity is. It's just going to say you can run that amount and get those completed when due. So those are pretty much the guts behind the program. You'll see that if I look at a sales order, when you get a sales order in, you have the ability to, again, most of you are familiar with the Sage sales order view. What it does, and it doesn't matter who the customer is, this is where you define the work ticket class. So I'm going to do a order for this particular client. Again, most of this is all demographic stuff. And then we go to the lines tab. In the lines tab, what are we going to make? So we have the ability to make non-stock items as well as stock items. In this particular case, I'll just grab a stock item. This WT is designed to just tells the system we're going to create a work ticket. We're going to create a work order for this particular item. And let's say we're going to order 3 of them. All right, so I grabbed an item. My number lock key is on now. And we'll go through here, and there's the standard part. Once you get to the end, it's going to give me the option, since I do have a template set up for this, it asks me if I want to create my work order, which will pull in all my, in the template you saw, all my budget labor and my budget materials, etc., into this job, or I can say no. I can actually create it manually and do step by step. Or I can jump into an open work ticket. Let's say I have the same part that I'm making already for someone else, or perhaps for the same customer, and it's already halfway through. I can pull all that same information, tell it what work ticket I'm pulling from, and it'll pull all that budget number in, because I might have made tweaks off of the template, and I want to pull from that specific one. Actually, I made this item a year ago, and so I can go to my history work ticket, and what's slick about this is I can pull up that history work ticket, and as I created that work ticket a year ago, do I want to use my budget hours? Probably not, because I want to know what it actually cost me to make. So that's what I really want to pull in as my budget. So you also have, this also has a product configurator that could walk you through step-by-step configuring an item. For this particular example, I'm just going to use the template because it is already set up. So once you create the template, it always asks if you want to edit the work ticket because it is pulling from a template. I'm sure there's, most people would either want to review it or make small changes to it. And again, this is your step 000, which is pretty much your header and defines what you're making. Okay, you have a step recap button that will take you through each one of the steps and what's been budgeted. You have the ability to do scheduling from here. Click on the schedule or edit a schedule if we want to put it into the production immediately. There's my activity codes, etc. In this particular case, you'll see I'm going to go to step 10. And step 10 is configure components if I go to my parts tab. So here's my bill of materials. Perhaps this part is no longer valid, I need a new part, I have the ability to go in here, do a lookup, find a different part that might meet the needs, and replace it directly in the work ticket itself. We do have the ability to import, as I said, from bill of materials or from other files. So the next thing it does for you as you're looking at it is it just shows you the components that are used to make that particular item. Obviously, when you send this off to a customer, you may not want to include all that information, so there's a little button here to turn it off. And so we've just created a new order. So the next step, I'll take you into the work ticket printing. So you have the ability to set up your routers or your travelers based on the type of work ticket, or you can see the different types of options you have available to you. So if I want to pull in a specific open work ticket, I'm going to clear whatever's in there now and do a lookup. So you have the ability to pull this last work ticket that I just created, select it, and preview. These are all crystal reports. No, that's not the one I created. That's the one I killed. These are all crystal reports and can be defined any way you want them defined. Typically, most clients want them barcoded so that when you go to so that when you go to release this to the floor, if you're at that stage, each one of these steps would have a barcode. They wouldn't need to scan into the work ticket itself, but each step. So it would capture the time associated with each one of these steps in making this particular item. The other benefit of that is, and you have an option to, if you're working on more than one step, you do have the ability to punch in and punch out of each step independently, or collect time for both. You'll see under JobOps time entry, this is where your people would collect if they have a barcoded badge, or they can look up their particular ID. You would scan that line item, that step from that work ticket, which would be pulled right into this particular view, and you'll see an option is to have start-stop times. So we do have a start-stop time. In this particular instance, they have the ability to type in the work that they've done. When they're done, of course, they're just logging in initially. And then even when they finish, when they do end up punching out, and they put in what the work is performed, you have the ability to give them this step completed, which by doing so will change the status of that step. So what's important about that is once we get to viewing your actual scheduling view, you can look at that particular job, look at the steps, and look at what steps have been completed and what haven't. The other function from the screen is if you allow them to, they have the ability to do parts usage or put parts in that they've used on this particular job. You'll see there's several options where you can auto-issue. You can auto-issue the parts that were automatically or that were initially defined for this particular job, or as I said before, we can do imports. We can import from the template, we can import from a file, we can import from a bill of materials into this particular step. And then we would update it. Updating it immediately releases or adjusts your inventory for issues. So that's how time is tracked. You'll see there's other functions here to review time by employee, review time by work ticket, etc. One of the things, if you haven't explored it, is this Explorer view. What's very exciting about the Explorer view is you can open up your current open work tickets, and you get this view, and in a single view on your screen, you can look at the different work tickets that you have in process, look at your steps, and look at exactly where you stand down below relative to your budget versus your actual. It looks at schedule, you'll see there's a status of hold, the machine's down. Again, the key to this whole thing is visibility. Where are we? Where are we on a job? You know. There's other views within here. Time tracker data entry will give me the ability to see who's punched into what job, how long they were punched in, what they did. This Explorer view is available for not just open work tickets. You can actually look at historical ones if you want to go back and look at processes. There is a scheduling view as well. Aside from the scheduling dashboard, we also have the scheduling view that will show you for each one of these different work tickets, the status, who the customer is, and then the production start and stop times. A lot of my clients use this production due date to backward schedule, so they'll drop this production due up here and look at their schedule based on when items are due, what steps they are, what work tickets they are, etc. Time tracker data entry view is just what it says. It's going to pull up the screen. It's going to show you who's punched into what activity code they're on, how long they've been on it, how long they've worked, etc. And there's the one that we just completed right here. So these views are critical. So one of the other things that's built into JobOps, which is key, is you're releasing jobs to the floor. Do you have the parts to make it? JobOps has built into it what's called the Component Exception Manager. This Component Exception Manager is a mini MRP. So if you do have the MRP module in Sage100, you do have the ability to integrate that. The benefit of the MRP is it will let you forecast out, and then you can, as you see here, we can set up a forecasting out or your demand start date from the MRP projections. You can also set up a cutoff date. This will also allow you to look at your requirements based on lead time. Again, if you have a lot of parts that have a long lead time, you're going to want to check that because it's going to tell you when you need to order parts. You'll see the filters that there are. You can set them up by warehouse, by buyer planner, by specific items. You'll also see that I can plan by work ticket itself. My preference is by inventory. You can do makes, buys, or both. So what makes is going to tell you is if you have subcomponents or something like that that you need to make prior to getting to that step in producing the main item. This will tell you when you have to create that work ticket and start creating that subcomponent. So I'm going to generate a work file, and that's all it is. It just collects all of the information from all these tables and then pulls it in. When I jump into the edit purchase, what's slick about this is, again, visibility. I'm showing this is pulling from all of the modules. This is pulling from sales order, it's pulling from inventory. You'll see that there's an MRP demand. It's going to look at your MRP. It's going to look at your work ticket demand, your stock demand. If you have reorder points or anything like that set up in inventory, then it's going to look at order points as well. And this isn't all you get. When you highlight a specific item, you can click on the detail, and it's going to show you exactly where those items are needed. And in this particular case, I need to buy, it says buy to stock 19, buy to work ticket 1, total required 6, because there's a minimum stock level of 8. So this is showing you quantity, work tickets, etc. What it's not showing you is when you need it. So if you click on this inventory, this is going to give you a time-sensitive view of when you need this specific board for these specific jobs. This is very easy to read relative to your reference. Your reference is the first 7 characters are the sales order number. The next 3 characters is the line item in the sales order, because you could have multiple lines in a sales order. And then your last 3 characters are the step within that work ticket. So that, again, it's going to show a time-sensitive requirement. So the reason that it wants to buy more is because I have a order point of 8 and a minimum order quantity of 20. So when I go back up here, it wants to order 20. So again, this is JobOps, is fully integrated with purchase orders, sales orders, etc. From this specific screen, I can look at, if I want to look by vendor, I can just pull up the vendors, and it's going to show me the parts that I need for specific vendors. I'm going to show all because I really need this board right away. I'm going to put everything on hold, and directly from this screen, I can create a purchase order. And I've got some options here, but from this particular item, I'm going to create a PO. So as I close out of here, you'll see that it did create the PO. It will not automatically send it. And the reason for that is a lot of clients require require that they be authorized before they're being sent out. So here's the particular purchase order that it created. As I said, bill of materials can be imported into this. Inventory, just to show you that it touches each one of these different modules. I'm going to show you the inventory module. It does make some changes to inventory. You're going to see that some of the different changes are, for instance, this is buy to stock, but now you can buy to order, make to stock, make to order. So it does modify a lot of these specific fields within inventory. You also have orders. You can look at your cost detail. You can look at quantities. In your quantities, you're going to also now show quantity used on a work ticket or quantities made from a work ticket. Again, it's maximum visibility. So purchase orders, you forgot to issue a purchase order. Just to show you really quick, I'm going to jump right in here real quick, create a purchase order because I forgot to order something for a job. I can jump to the lines tab. This is what I'm going to order, and 5 of them. and I can jump right down and actually link that particular purchase order directly to a work ticket. I need 50 of those, I need them right away, and I need them for that step in that work ticket. Obviously, I need a cost in there. So now when these parts come in, what happens with the parts that are ordered directly for a work ticket, they go in and out of inventory and they go directly into work in process. So they go right to the job. If you have commingled, if you have parts that are going to stock and to a job, it will also show up on there as, you know, X amount goes to this job and the balance go to stock. There is a make to stock work ticket where you could actually create jobs to go directly to stock. If you sell items and you service them, which again, JobOps goes all the way through the entire lifespan, I can actually go in and look at items that if they're serialized, I can go in and look at all these specific items that I've sold, who I sold them to, all the information relative to them. With attachments, I could have pictures, I could have, you know, if I want to look at PM or service tickets, these are all built in. So that's pretty much the whole process flow of JobOps. Again, it touches every manufacturing module. It touches most of the core modules. If you go into customer inquiry, when you actually look at an inventory or an invoice for a customer, if there is a job associated with it and you actually drill into the job or drill into the invoice, it will actually take you all the way into the job, to the work ticket itself. I don't have one available right now, but you can drill all the way in right from customer maintenance. And that's pretty much all there is for.
Great, thank you, Pat. At this time, we're going to go ahead and turn back to the Q&A portion. Let me go ahead and take controls here, and everybody should see pretty soon the JobOps slide with the modules. The first question that we had was compatibility. Is JobOps compatible with, and I'm just going to fill in the blank, Sage100, you know, whatever version? The answer is yes. JobOps is compatible with any version of Sage100 that you have. JobOps has been available for Sage100 for almost 20 years now. So there's no concerns about availability and compatibility with your Sage100 version. A better question, and something that we recommend, is I would be careful to only install JobOps if you're on a current Sage Business Care plan and you're on one of the current or the latest 3 releases. And the reason for our recommendation is simple. Sage, per their agreement with their customers and their business care plans, only supports the current version and the last 3 releases. So while JobOps is compatible with older versions of Sage100, we would question the value of installing it on a version which you may not be getting support for. So a very good question about compatibility. A second question that was submitted during the demo is, how is JobOps licensed? So I went back to this slide on purpose because JobOps is licensed by modules and by users. And the first thing that we do is some additional discovery with our customers and our prospects to understand your manufacturing requirements, the software needs, and the workflow of your business operations. That helps us determine which of these modules provide the most value for your organization and solve your business problems. And then obviously the modules plus the users are how we price the JobOps solution. If you're interested in learning more about JobOps and you're a prospect, feel free to send an email to sales@rklesolutions.com or continue to work with your current sales rep. If you're an existing customer and you have questions about Sage100 and JobOps, feel free to reach out to your account manager, Rachel Roselli. On behalf of everybody here at RKL and Pat, we thank you for your time today. We wish you luck, and if you have any questions, please give us a call. This will conclude our session on JobOps for Sage100. Thank you.
Thanks for your participation.
Thank you.